Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're taking a deep dive into something really fascinating. We're looking at Soninke culture and politics,
Wow.
specifically the Senegalese legislative elections happening in Europe.
It's a really interesting area, especially when you look at it from the perspective of the diaspora.
Absolutely. And to do that, we've got a couple of sources.
Okay.
First, we're going to be listening to a clip from the Sonic channel,
Okay.
which is an initiative by the Mamam Group.
I'm excited to hear this. The Sonic Channel is such a great platform for showcasing all the richness of Soninke culture.
And then we'll be looking at a YouTube interview with Moustapha Thiam.
Oh, yeah.
Now he's a Senegalese entrepreneur who's running for office in the Europe, Northwest, and Central Zone.
His story's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
He grew up in a small village, walked 7 kilometers to school
Wow.
every day for 7 years,
Oh, my God.
then achieved success in Europe, and now he's moving into the world of politics.
That's quite a journey.
It is.
He even wrote a book about it
Oh, wow.
called Adversity, My Ally.
I love that title.
And he's planning to adapt it into a film.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So it's going to be really interesting to hear his perspective.
Yeah, and it's so interesting how his experiences seem to have really driven him to want to help his community.
Yeah.
He even has this really unique approach to choosing a leader. He calls it the PPD rule.
Okay. So break that down for me.
Okay, so PPD stands for parcours, program, and discourse.
Okay.
So parcours refers to the background and achievements of the candidate.
Okay.
Program represents their proposed solutions.
I see.
And then discourse is all about how consistent and coherent their message is.
That's a pretty solid way to evaluate any candidate, not just in Senegal.
Right.
What do you think?
I agree. It really encourages voters to look beyond just the campaign promises
Yeah.
and actually assess, their track record
Yeah.
and if their proposals are actually feasible.
And speaking of proposals,
Yes.
Tam has some really specific ones that are tailored for different groups within the diaspora. He starts by talking about the challenges students face.
Yeah, he mentions how difficult it is to access housing and visas, and also the limited job opportunities and even just getting their degrees recognized back in Senegal.
It's so interesting how he doesn't just point out the problems.
Right.
He offers solutions.
He does. He really tries to come up with concrete things,
Yeah.
like negotiating with housing providers,
Oh.
lobbying for visa reform, setting up career centers in the Senegalese consulates,
Right.
and advocating for better recognition of their degrees.
That's ambitious,
It is.
especially for someone who's new to the political scene.
It'll be interesting to see how he wants to make all that happen.
Absolutely. Then he moves on to professionals in the diaspora.
Yes.
And he points out that there's no central platform to show off all the talent that's out there.
It's true. It makes it hard for professionals to find the right work
Yeah.
and for companies to connect with qualified people.
So how does he suggest they fix that?
Well, he wants to create a database called CV Tech. And it's essentially a list of qualified Senegalese professionals from all different industries.
Oh, wow.
And then he plans to really promote this database to companies.
So he's applying his entrepreneurial mindset to this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a very market-driven approach.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I mean, it's interesting for sure.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see how it would actually be implemented
Right.
and whether it could really overcome all those hurdles that come with international recruitment.
You're right. Even the best idea needs to be implemented well to work.
Absolutely.
Okay, so next he talks about the entrepreneurs in the diaspora.
Oh, yeah. What challenges does he see for them?
Well, he says that there aren't enough support networks for entrepreneurs
Okay.
and that it's tough to navigate the European business world,
Yeah.
which can be pretty different.
That makes sense. I'm sure he has some suggestions for that.
Oh, he definitely does.
Okay, what are they?
He wants to create a directory of businesses owned by Senegalese people. Develop a dedicated marketplace specifically for those businesses,
Oh, wow.
and even consider establishing a diaspora investment bank.
A diaspora investment bank. That's a huge idea.
It is.
Wow.
But I think it shows how much he believes in the potential of the diaspora.
For sure. And finally, he talks about families.
He does.
What are their challenges?
Well, he points out something that's often overlooked,
Uh-huh.
the lack of affordable insurance and social protection for families,
Right, because that's a huge issue when you're living in a new country.
especially if you're facing unexpected problems.
Right.
So to try to fix that, he proposes creating a cooperative insurance program
Oh, wow.
specifically for the diaspora.
And this would act as a safety net for families dealing with unexpected events.
Yes,
This
exactly.
is a very thoughtful proposal.
It is.
Shows that he's considering everyone in the community.
He's not just focused on the economic issues.
All right.
It's a very holistic view.
So before we get into the details of his platform,
Okay.
let's quickly touch on his political stance.
All right. So he's running in coalition with the Gorebe political party,
Okay.
which is led by Ahmed Diallo.
And it seems like he's really emphasizing a collaborative approach.
Yeah. He wants to work with anyone who shares his vision.
How do you think that's going to play out in Senegalese politics?
Well, it'll be interesting to watch him try to navigate the world of political alliances while keeping his focus on the solutions.
Yeah,
Senegalese politics are complicated,
for sure.
so his ability to find common ground and work with others will be very important.
Welcome back. When we left off, we were talking about Thiam's really collaborative approach to politics.
Right, and as we go through the interview, we start to see some interesting complexities.
Okay.
He mentions that he supports projects initiated by PASTEF
Oh, interesting.
and even suggests that he's contributed financially.
Okay.
And this is where the interviewer brings up this term, transhumance,
Oh, yeah.
which basically means switching political sides.
Oh, so like for personal gain.
Right. And it's something that voters in Senegal are very aware of. They really value commitment. So it could be a challenge for Thiam.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And he actually addresses this head on.
He does.
He really emphasizes his independence,
Right.
saying he's never been a member of any party before
Okay.
and that he has his own vision.
It's a tough thing to balance.
Right.
He wants to show he's committed to the people, but also not seem like an opportunist.
Yeah. And it sounds like he wants voters to judge him based on his actions and his ideas.
Right. Not his party affiliation.
And that independence streak comes up again when he talks about the current government and PASTEF.
Yeah, he doesn't align himself too closely with either.
Okay.
He just wants to solve problems.
I see.
He even uses the phrase constructive politics.
Oh, I like that.
It suggests that he wants to work together,
Yeah.
not get bogged down in all the arguments.
It's an appealing approach.
Especially for people who are tired of all the fighting in politics.
For sure. But can that actually work?
That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Politics is all about compromise. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles that if he's elected.
Yeah. Can he actually get things done while working within the system?
We'll have to see.
Okay, so another thing that comes up in the interview is his business background.
He talks about that a lot.
What does he say?
He presents himself as a doer,
Okay.
not a talker.
I see.
He contrasts himself with those traditional politicians who he sees as being all talk and no action.
Right.
He's clearly frustrated.
That's understandable. I mean, with his background, he wants to see results.
And coming from the business world, that can be hard in politics.
For sure. Things move much more slowly in politics.
All right, so let's talk about his vision for the diaspora.
Okay.
This is something he gets really excited about.
Oh, yeah.
He has some interesting ideas.
What does he say?
He sees the diaspora as a huge, untapped resource,
Okay.
full of talent and expertise.
Yeah.
He challenges the traditional focus on just the money they send back home, saying that their human capital is actually more important.
Okay. I like that. And he uses a really good analogy to explain it.
What's that?
He talks about how European football clubs recruit Senegalese players
Oh, yeah?
for their skills. And he says Senegal should do the same for professionals in different fields.
That's a great comparison.
Right.
He wants people to see the diaspora as active participants.
Yeah. Not just a source of money.
And he doesn't stop there.
Of course not.
He actually has some ideas about how to do this.
Okay, so we already talked about the CV check database.
Right, but he wants to go further
Okay.
with mentorship programs, professional events,
Okay.
and stronger links between the diaspora and businesses.
Oh, that's a lot.
It is, but it's all about trying to bridge that gap
Right.
between their skills and the needs back in Senegal.
This is a vision that requires a lot of buy-in, though.
Yeah, from both sides.
Right.
But it's exciting to think about the possibilities.
You can tell he really believes in building that relationship.
A good relationship.
Yeah, between Senegal and its diaspora.
And one of his ideas is to create a circular economy.
Okay, what does that mean?
He wants businesses and professionals
Okay.
to prioritize working with each other,
I see.
to keep the money and the skills within the community.
So it's about building a more self-sufficient system.
Right. And he has specific examples of how this could work,
Like what?
like a directory of businesses,
Okay.
an online marketplace, and even a bank
Right.
focused on the diaspora.
These are huge ideas.
They are.
But it all comes back to empowering the diaspora.
Exactly.
And helping Senegal grow economically.
It's ambitious.
It is.
But he's thinking outside the box.
Which is refreshing in politics.
Definitely.
Where people are often afraid to take risks.
And he's not just coming up with these ideas on his own.
Oh, no.
He looks at other diaspora communities.
Oh.
Like the Moroccans with their kebab shops.
Yeah.
Or the Chinese with their strong business networks.
It's smart to learn from others.
Right. He's trying to find what works and adapt it.
So let's switch gears a bit and talk about the Senegal 2050 plan.
Okay. That's the government's plan for the future.
And it's interesting to see how he talks about it.
He's very diplomatic.
Okay.
He praises the initiative.
Okay.
Says it's good to have a vision, but he also subtly criticizes it.
In what way?
He says you need the right people to implement it.
So it's not enough to just have a good plan.
Exactly. You need competent leadership.
And of course, he's positioning himself as someone who can provide that.
He does.
He even compares it to a flight plan.
Oh, yeah.
Saying you need a good pilot.
And a GPS.
But also a skilled co-pilot.
He sees himself as the co-pilot.
Yeah.
Guiding Senegal to a better future.
It's ambitious, but also diplomatic.
Right. He's praising the plan.
Yeah.
But also suggesting he can do better.
Towards the end of the interview, the interviewer brings up something more serious.
What's that?
The recent floods in the bagel department.
Oh, yeah.
It's a reminder of the real challenges facing Senegal.
And Tam responds with a lot of compassion.
Yeah, he expresses his sympathy for the victims.
And stresses how urgent the situation is.
He wants the government to take action.
Immediately.
And he doesn't just stop there.
He goes further.
Yeah, he mentions that he and his coalition partner, Ahmed Diallo, are already working on helping.
Wow. So he's not waiting to be elected.
He's taking action now.
That's powerful.
It really reinforces that image of him as a man of action.
Right. He's not just talking.
He's doing something.
He wants to help people.
Yeah, and I think it leaves the audience with a good impression.
Definitely.
That he actually wants to make a difference. As we wrap up our deep dive, I'm really struck by Tam's energy.
Me too.
You can really tell how much he wants to serve his community.
He's definitely not afraid to challenge the status quo either.
And you see his business background come through so much.
In everything he says.
He's always talking about building connections and empowering the diaspora.
It's a really different approach.
For sure.
You know, compared to what we usually hear from politicians.
Right, and he seems to be really focused on actually solving problems.
Instead of just making promises.
And his ideas are huge.
They are.
A diaspora investment bank.
Wow.
Better recognition for European degrees.
It makes you wonder, though.
What?
Can he actually achieve all that?
Right. It's a good question.
Especially with all the international stuff.
And the bureaucracy.
Yeah. And that's something for you, our listeners, to think about, too.
Can his business experience really translate to politics?
And are his ideas actually realistic?
Right.
Given how complicated everything is?
It's easy to be cynical about politics, but...
But I think Tam's story offers a bit of hope.
Yeah.
He shows that individuals can actually make a difference.
That's a good point.
Especially with fresh ideas and a commitment to service.
And he's also challenging us to think differently about the diaspora.
It's not just about the money they send back.
It's about using their skills and knowledge.
To build a better future.
For everyone.
And that's a message that goes beyond this election. It's relevant for everyone.
So we end this deep dive with a few questions for you.
All right, let's hear them.
Can Tam's vision actually come true?
What role can the diaspora play in shaping Senegal's future?
And how can we all contribute?
To a more interconnected and supportive world.
Where everyone's talents are valued.